Happy Thursday, everybody. Oh, we're in the throes of Mardi Gras here in New Orleans, and I tell you what, I'm gearing up for the weekend. Hope your week is going as good as mine. We have just been having some fun with the shows here on Cocktails with Cav, and we've been having some fun out on the streets of New Orleans with Mardi Gras, that's for sure. But please, look, a little quick housekeeping before we get started with tonight's incredible show with a fellow veteran that I've been so excited to have on the show, and I'm glad he could finally make it. So stick around for that. Little quick housekeeping. If you haven't checked out our merch page, check that out. A lot of great swag, great way to support the show. As always, during the show, our tip function will be up here in the corner. The QR code will take you straight to it, and we'd love your support. That's all it takes is a cheap cup of coffee, and we can keep bringing you all of these great indie authors, entertainers, and artists. And I don't know if you've noticed on my X profile, but I finally changed my link on my profile to my link tree. And I tell you what, go check that out. It's just, I'm proud of my link tree. I'm telling you, it has the latest Cocktails with Cav show at the top. Our Spotify audio-only broadcasts of our show is next. And then, of course, all the other links to all the great offerings that Cav has to give you, including our Classics with Cav channel on Rumble, where I have some audiobooks of great classic literature that's in the public domain, and I'm rolling that out. So hopefully you can check that out too. Oh, I tell you what, I've been working hard for you guys. I don't know if you know it. Oh, well, enough of all that. Ladies and gentlemen, please follow, like us, repost the show so more people can get to know all of these great indie authors and entertainers and artists that we're bringing to you. And please help me welcome to the stage tonight's special guest, the incredible sci-fi author, T.O. Burnett. Oh, T.O., my friend, I'm so glad you could finally join us here on Cocktails and Cav. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, George, man. Listen, first of all, let me apologize for, taking so long to get here. I really enjoy talking to you on Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it nowadays.
That's right.
You always bring a smile to my face, man. And, you're one of the people I look forward to interacting with on a daily basis, man.
Oh, I know, and people out in the audience won't know, but I'll have to fill them in. T.O. was one of the first real friends I made on X, and we just cracking each other up with some good memes and responses, and just having a good laugh. And I actually, for full disclosure, look, T.O. was actually my first invited guest for the show. Yeah, and unfortunately he couldn't make it till now, but he probably just wanted to make sure I didn't suck at it before he came on.
Listen, I knew the way your account runs, man, on X, that you had to be good at it. Personality. So listen, I was kicking myself because I wanted to be here, the first one, but I just had a lot going on.
Oh, well, you finally made it, man, and I'm so glad you are, because I'm so excited to have you on and talk about not only your work, but you and let people know about you. So yeah, please, by all means, let the viewers know a little bit about your background. And my fellow veteran, even though we have our little Marine and Army competition going. So, but please tell us a little about you so that people can get to know you, T.O.
That's right. I am a jarhead. So let me go ahead. Let me get that out the way. I'm actually a Desert Storm vet too, and I know a lot of people throw that around a lot of times, and it has the connotation, but I am a actual combat veteran. I was a machine gunner, ground pounder, and Desert Storm. I turned 21 in the desert over in Kuwait, and we got down and dirty over there. Also, I'm a retired police officer, so you might not have known that about me. I now train police recruits full time, and take this off and put a DI hat on me, and you'll see we're out of session right now. We start back up in April, so I'll be yelling at recruits again in April. I'm also a firearms instructor. That's a sight alignment, sight picture never changes.
Yeah.
So just happened to. It's a funny thing. I'm not really a gun guy, but I happen to be really good at shooting. I happen to be really good at gun safety, and so I have a lot of knowledge when it comes to that. And so I like to impart that to people, and so it pays to be. Writing is something that I love to do. It's one of the most relaxing things in the world to me. I think you and I probably around the same age. We come from the same era. If there can't be no more than I can't be more than 10 years older than you. but so come to the area where we're heavy on sci-fi and all that stuff, and I just have a imagination that surprises me sometimes. And so instead of consuming so much science fiction all the time, it just came a point in time where I felt like I needed an outlet to kind of express my not even views on things, but put my mind and my imagination on things, and let people see that and how I view certain things. I oftentimes look at movies and I think, I would have done this to end the movie. I would have done this in the denouement. I would have done this in the climax. I would have done this in the second act and stuff like that. And that kind of comes easy to me. So I think it's a blessing.
Well, have you been writing in, using your imagination in that manner for a long? Oh, what do we got over there? I forgot to ask you about your cocktail du jour over there.
This is a little dark.
That's fine. I'm always on my standby whiskey and 7, so it's my girl army drink. It's okay.
I won't hold it against you.
Yeah, that's right. That's it. But no, really. Have you always done this since you were younger, or did you not start this until you got older, or?
Well, funny thing is, I didn't start writing. I didn't start writing fiction until I was 46. So December 1st of 16, and which is actually my father's birthday. Rest in peace. But so I started writing that, and I wanted to write 10 years earlier when I was 34, 35 years old. But listen, I was probably the last man in America to send an email, right? So I had no idea how Word worked, the writing software worked. One of my younger coworkers was kind enough to sit down and explain to me Google Docs. And so I went out and bought the Chromebook that I'm actually talking to you through right now. And that night I just started writing, and the writing journey began in earnest. What prompted me to get motivated about it was a conversation I had with another coworker about religion, right? And so ultimately that led down to a whole different rabbit hole of where mankind came from. Are we alone in the universe? And so that sparked an idea in me about, saying that the premise of all humans being aliens on this planet. And then from that, Sapien was born. Sapien was born. Right?
That's right. Well, yeah, let's talk about this series, because it really is fascinating. You have 3 books in the series, in the Sapien series, and they're just, they're fascinating reads, but it starts with the dawn of oblivion and goes into the days of deception and ends up with the 3rd book, of course. Then there was darkness, but please tell us a little bit about the series, this work that got inspired by this idea that got sparked in you.
Right. So Sapien is about it's a solar system where and it has 9 life-sustaining planets in one solar system. So so we have to suspend disbelief in this true space opera, and it is a space opera. The main character is an individual named Muladi Sodat. He is a person who is basically half African and half Scandinavian in a solar system where each planet consists of nothing but one race. So Alkebulan consists of nothing but black people as we know it. Europa is basically Europeans. Akkadian Arabu is all Arabic people. Then there's even a planet called Alban where it consists of nothing but albino people, right? So, and that one obviously is the furthest from the sun. So one of the, there's a government entity called the Supreme Council. And one of the, there are 3 different politicians with 3 different views on how the solar system should be run and how humanity should go forward. They have that much power. One of them, Ferris Lamont, believes that the solar system should be integrated, or that people should be integrated. However, he also has the belief that it could never happen in Sapien because everybody is too beholden to their own, too tribal, right? So he sets up an expedition to send pioneers from the Sapien solar system to Earth. And they find Earth, and one thing that's going to be consistent, I'll give you guys an Easter egg, one thing that's going to be consistent in all of my stories is they all evolve around the arrival of Halley's Comet. So it was that they noticed, they sent out a galaxy expander, they saw Halley's Comet, they saw that it was circling this particular planet that was life-sustaining, and they sent the expedition to that planet. My standalone that I recently wrote, Circa 1740, was it was Halley's Comet that put out the cosmic effects that allowed my characters in that story to time travel. And so they were the perihelion of the comet, when that was at its highest, that allowed them to the cosmic effects were right at the right time in the right place. They were able to go and time travel to a destination of their choosing. Well,
I tell you, that's the book Circa 1740s, really fascinating to me. Like all great science fiction, obviously it tries to speak to issues and in a futuristic manner, and Circa 1741, the premise is the national sports hero gets zapped back into slavery, and it's a fascinating premise. What sparked that book for you, your latest?
So Circa 1740 was sparked by some self-reflection and house cleaning within my own race. Given the backdrop of slavery, one would think going into that book that it's going to be a book that's going to say, whitey is bad, right? But what Circa 1740 is very critical of problematic black men, right? So it takes a microscope and looks at people, a race of people or a demographic of people who a lot of people view as a monolith, but it thin slices us in a way that's going to be very recognizable to a lot of black people who read this already, but may not be readily recognizable to people who are on the outside looking in. So it takes that, and I deal with those individuals, those good and bad, those. So I take certain characters, individuals, certain personality traits that are good, some are bad, and I make them caricatures in the story so that they are amplified to their best or their worst, so that they're readily identifiable. And that's what it's about. The Quandre Tyson in that story is an individual. On the surface, he is not a bad guy. He's not a bad guy. he is indifferent. And a co-worker of his, Malik Godson, points out some problems in his personality that he thinks that he should, look at, and basically tells him that he owes his community more than he's given his community. And DeQuandre Tyson is a type of individual that, had he been told, and he's a very intelligent person, and had he been told and explained something, he would have understood it, but it wouldn't have resonated. It took him going and living 70 years in Jamestown, Virginia, from 1740 for it to sink in. And
it's an amazing story, T.O. Yeah, and like I said a little bit earlier, all great science fiction addresses issues. The humanity of everyone. I think a lot of times today, there's no discussion, versus what's going on in the world, and if people would just talk more, or.
Yeah, I tell you what, people tap dance and tiptoe around a lot of things that should be openly discussed. Some of my best friends, people I love, are on the opposite sides of the fence from me politically, and but that's not a hindrance. You have to one thing about the military, the beautiful thing about that is it takes people who never would have spoken to one another otherwise and puts them together in some tight situations, and you become fast friends, man.
Yeah, that's it. And it lasts forever, ironically enough.
It lasts forever. Those guys are my brothers, man.
Yeah.
Those guys are my brothers. And, one of my buddies, man, I went down to Alabama a few years back, and he found out that I stayed in the hotel, and he's a white guy, and we're like on opposite sides of the spectrum politically or whatever. But he found out that I stayed in the hotel that was near there, and he cussed me out. Right? Cussed me out. He said, "Don't you ever bring your butt down here, and not sleep and not spend the night at my house again." And so every time I go down, his kids call me Uncle Burnett.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Yeah. And it really is, and I think that's. Do you find that a lot in your social media? Because I know, you and I, like I said earlier, we've cut up some, and it just had some fun times. And but a lot of the times, it's. Do you find thought bubbles going on, and that kind of just that isolation that, without taking in different perspectives and discussions, it's fascinating to me that's occurred so rapidly.
Yeah, and it's in social media, man, it's tricky because you have to walk that line. You speak your mind and be 100% honest for 10 seconds and you're viral, right? And then the whole world's against you, right? So it's one of those things where you have to really focus on playing well with others. The beautiful thing about Twitter is that it allows you to extract certain personality traits from other people, and you find commonality, find common ground, and you bond there, you meet them there, and you work outward from there, right? You and I think we have a lot in common. We have a very similar sense of humor,
Yeah. And actually very similar backgrounds as well. I'm retiring from law enforcement myself. Yeah.
Oh, see, awesome. See what I'm saying? That's it. And there it is. That's the connection. And so, and you and I know, listen, that we can go down a whole rabbit hole with that too, as far as, perception and all that stuff, and we know there's a lot of good people doing the good work out there every day. And, my whole career, my whole thing was to stay out of the news, right?
Yeah, right. And it's nowadays is a different world. That's for sure. It's it's
a different world. So that's what a lot of times when we have in-service training, and I speak to the officers about, avoiding landmines, going out there and, treating every person as if it's your hard of hearing grandmother that you're speaking to. You have to take that type of care with individuals, right? And in that situation, if somebody still chooses to, be skeptical or about your behavior, your character, then so be it. You can't please everybody.
Yeah. And that's interesting that you do a lot of training, and like I said, I love these discussions we have on this show because you never know where it goes. But yeah, that's an interesting question for me to ask you as somebody who does training, because it's something I thought a lot about the last few years. Do you find the younger generation coming into the profession are as what's the term? Do you find as many young people willing to come into the profession now?
The weird thing about that is I would have thought that it would have slowed down, right? And we're getting figures that say it's slowing down, but our academy, our next class is already filling up. Our last class was full. Our last few classes have been, the numbers have actually picked up. I think, there you go. Get it.
We'll have to cut that one and start over on that one.
Yeah.
I forgot to turn my phone off, Tia.
Yeah, I had to mute mine a second ago. But no, so I find that the classes, to answer your question, I find that the classes are picking up. We're finding that there are a lot of people who are more gung-ho about police work, and they're eager to go and they're eager to come in and change the perception that we've, I guess I have to, for lack of a better way of saying it, earned, of the reputation that we've earned. They're trying to, switch that up, and we're putting them out there with a kind of gentler mindset as far as the public go, perception-wise. Now, and I say perception-wise because of this, because I still teach, protect your personal space. I still teach proper responses to overt stimuli, to overt threats, and things of that nature. And we still teach them to, the bottom line is, no matter what, you go home every day.
Yeah, sure. But that's great to hear, though. That's a fascinating point that you made, that the upcoming generation is kind of anxious to change that stigma that's become attached to the profession in a lot of ways. So that's kind of heartening, So.
Yeah. I mean, and listen, you know how it goes. Listen, I'm sure you've lost count of the tires you've changed for citizens throughout your career, right?
Yeah, sure, and just all the cats and trees, and it's
all of the above, right? And,
that doesn't go viral on TikTok, though, man.
And it won't, because all that can be undone by somebody who has a questionable shooting.
Yeah, sure.
And so, a big part of it too is we have to be quicker, I think, to hold one another accountable. We have to be quicker to say, yeah, you're right, when clearly there is a problem with something that we did, and not be defensive, because they think this imaginary thin blue line is something that is impenetrable and that we all hide behind. We don't. It's, we understand due process, but sometimes we have to let empathy take over where logic is holding the space.
Yeah, and that's true. And again, I think it all just comes back to discussion and openness and conversation,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's worth a toast, that's for sure.
That's right. Toast. Think of that.
Oh man, Tio, I tell you what though, this is just, even though we took a little twist and turns into some of our other professions, and but I'm sure all of that, whether it's the military or law enforcement experience or whatever, and I'm sure it all bleeds into your writing, and
it
comes into your thought process going into it. You know, how do you write when you're writing your sci-fi? Because it's a fascinating genre to me always. You know, and it, like you said, we grew up with some of the greats in sci-fi that we're on the Jetsons phone now, right?
That's right. That's right.
And but yeah, what was your process just coming up with that futuristic mindset and bringing it back full circle to humanity?
You know, so the thing is, my mindset is this: to wrap universal truths in a bunch of bells and whistles. Right?
Right.
So at the heart of it, a Christmas tree is a tree, right? You could put a whole bunch of ornaments on there and make it look this and a whole bunch of subterfuge and make it feel special for that special day. But when it's all stripped down, it's a tree. So in my science fiction, I take that same approach. You know, I can have special weapons, twice emitters, epics, and oxygen elimination and ammunition and stuff like that. But at the bottom, at the core of everything is human conflict and universal human conflict, and the resolution, in my point of view, of how to resolve those conflicts and what my solutions are to certain things. And you know, I'm big on verisimilitude and plausibility, right? So there has to be some truthfulness in the essence of the story, and it has to be plausible within the world I've created, right? So I can't have somebody, have human abilities in Act 1, and then all of a sudden it turn into Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, in Act 3 when it's convenient for the plot, right?
Right,
So I have to make sure that I'm consistent with all of that. So in that's why I love writing first books of series, right? Because you can pretty much lay it out in everything. You can establish everything. And if you want to have people be able to read each other's minds, you can have somebody teleport, you can have somebody with telekinesis, telekinetic abilities, all that stuff, you can do that. You have to stick to it, and you have to put limitations on what they can move and all that other stuff, but you can do that. You can't have somebody normal in book 1 and then, be telekinetic in book 3.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, that's a fascinating way you put it. I've never heard it put quite that way before, and it's a good way to put it. You're right. At that Christmas tree analogy. At the end of the day, it's universal human conflict, and dress it up, and that's a great technique. I like it. I'm gonna steal it. No. I do all your memes.
listen, I steal them, so you might as well steal them too. So.
That's it. Oh man. Well, T.O., look, I am so glad you were finally able to come on. And like I said, I'm glad I got through some of the kinks and the early things and got you on here finally. And had a great show talking about your work. Again, ladies and gentlemen, like you've heard us talk about, look, T.O. is a great person, great member of the writing community, and a great member of the X community, interacting and talking and exchanging ideas and exchanging laughs. So
all the time.
So please go give T.O. a follow. His screen name on X at Author T.O. Burnett. It's right there on the screen under his video shot for you. And as well, please, all show long, we've had it above us, T.O. I don't know if you could see it during the show, but above us, this banner is QR code take you straight to T.O.'s website, which we've been kind of getting a glimpse at, his sapien.world and /shop. That QR code will take you straight to, and you can get a hold of all of his great works in the Sapien series. Heck yeah, I'm looking now, you even have posters and some great hoodies and t-shirts. I gotta get me some hoodies on my merch.
Right, man. The hoodies.
I gotta get me some of those too. But and of course your latest
too, man.
Oh, that's it, I'm telling you. And your latest work, what are you doing now? Are you having any events coming up or that you want to plug, or for Circa 1740?
No, Nothing. I'm right now. I'm busy winding down. I'm 80,000 words into my latest work in progress, which is the Mezzalord's Armor. Yeah, and so that is going to be an amazing book. If you are into space opera, Star Wars, and and this book is like the 300 meets Grandmaster in a Flash and the Furious 5 in space. If you can wrap your mind around it.
We got a scoop on Cocktails with Cav, the new book.
That's right. Right. So the Mezzalord's Armor, that should be out by June at the latest.
Oh man, T.O. Well, yeah, we're definitely looking forward to that. And please, by all means, come back on when you launch your new book. I'd love to talk about it and listen. See if we can steal some info.
Yes. Listen, I would love to be back, man. This has been great. Listen. Once again, you're one of my favorite guys. I always look forward to interacting with you on Twitter. You always come with positivity, man, and I appreciate that so much. Because, listen, there's landmines all through that app, right? You always, anybody can. You got people that come on here looking to be offended.
Oh, sure.
Right. So I appreciate the fact that I can be free with you, and and we can sit back and have fun, and it's all good. So I appreciate that.
Man. Oh, T.O., man, look, the pleasure's all mine, bud. I tell you what, have a great time. But ladies and gentlemen, again, incredible sci-fi author T.O. Burnett. Go follow him on X, and please go visit his website that's been up top on a QR code and check out some of his merch and his series of books in the Sapien series, as well as his latest, Circa 1740.
Yep.
T.O.,
thank you, sir.
My friend, I'll see you around, and I'll look for your memes to hassle you with in the comments over, buddy.
Listen, I'm going to keep pumping them up. And listen, I'm going to tell you right now, the secret to this is this. I believe in having nonstop shenanigans and not bombing people with my content. So what happens is people see that they laugh, and say, let me check this guy's page. And then right there in my pin tweet, that's where my books are. So that's how I get them.
It works. That's it. Well, T.O., man, look, you have a great rest of the evening. And again, promise you'll come back when your latest work comes out, hopefully around summertime, you said.
Hey, promise me you'll have me. It's been a blast.
You know it, my friend. I'll be there.
My man.
Cheers.
Cheers. Appreciate you.
All right, T.O.